Howdy, hello, and welcome to the 12th episode of the Preferred Podcast. I'm your host, director, producer, writer, composer, editor, actor, PA, CEO, janitor, manager, president, and vice president, Sajay Preferred.
And I'm the Heart of Alabama and the co-host of this prestigious podcast, Amber Valentine. The
Preferred
It's a birthday celebration type of day.
And we're partying it out for our 12th episode of the podcast.
12 and counting.
So let's kick it off with another topic of slay.
Play.
Some people got it and make it pay. Some people can't even get it away. Today we're going to be talking about drag opportunities.
That was clever.
Yeah. So overall, we're just going to be talking about like opportunities in drag as they come. Because I feel like, not to get into it already, but I feel like nowadays there are so many drag opportunities and there's so many ways to pursue drag and be successful in drag. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the drag opportunities.
Let's spill the tea, girl.
But to make it very clear, some people don't have to work for it. Some people are given these opportunities. We are very known of these people in the Birmingham area. They're
Bleep.
We are very known of these people in the area because there are quite a few. When it comes to these situations, I'm not going to lie. These people make me very upset, very pissed off, very aggravated because I am one of those people who had to work for it all of my drag career. I've always had to learn how to sew, learn how to do my own makeup, learn how to get my own booking, so on and so forth. So when I see it handed to people, it's kind of aggravating. It's almost like, well, what did I spend now coming on 6 years doing?
Right.
Playing with myself. Playing with my kitty. I don't know. Genuinely, that as a whole really does aggravate me. And another pet peeve I have is newer queens of the generation. They love to just think that drag opportunities are just given to them. Mm-hmm. That's not how it works.
Yeah. Like, half of us had to start an open stage as well. Like.
Yeah. And if you're not doing an open stage, which I mean, it's a part of, the situation, but networking, you had to network and drag. And once again, that's a part of doing open stages because you had to do an open stage to get your name out there sometimes, especially if you move to a new area.
Yep.
Whenever I first moved to Birmingham, I was doing open stages constant. Winning none, but doing them constantly. And through that, I, won, and then eventually when my name was brought up, became on cast, some blah, blah, blah. It goes on down the line. If you put in the work will be shown, and therefore the progress will be made. Not only with your drag, but also with you getting on cast at places, or getting your name out there.
Your following.
Because
your following is important.
Do you remember your first, booking that you got? Cash paid booking?
My first cash paid booking actually would have been the very first DIY because I co-hosted with Melody Hex, and because we were hosting, we split the door. So that was actually my first ever cash booking.
And I mean, with that, you networked yourself through the DIY group. You know what I mean? You got your name out of there. You just shoot it out. But you got your name out there through Twat and, those people. And it was placed that you had a place with them,
Yep. And I continued to do the open stages after that too.
Yeah.
So up until I ended up.
Because I mean, DIY is considered as an open stage. You do have to sign up for it, and it is picked. You do free shows to get your name out of there. That's another misconception that people have with drag is that you do a show. You do a show and you get paid for doing the show. No, that's not always the case. I've had to do so many shows for free just to have another show.
I did so many hotspot shows before I ended up on cast that.
And if you know your talents in drag, you should be okay with doing a free show because you should know you're still going to make money.
Exactly.
And that's something people don't put two and two together when they're once again, newer queens think drag is all about money, and it's not. In a sense, it is all about money. It's all about spending money to get new drag. The second you make drag about making money, you're ruining the point of drag.
Exactly.
So if you go into drag saying, "Oh, I need to be $50. I need to be paid $50 for showing up. No, honey, you really don't.
Mm-mm.
If they say, hey, we want you at the show, we will pay you $50. You should be like, thank you so much for this opportunity. I am so thankful. Do I need to suck any?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what needs to happen?
Some of us have had our fair share.
Oh, and passed around. Bookings everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite opportunity, whether it be like a booking or something that's came up in your drag career that you've taken an opportunity, and with that opportunity, was it a paid opportunity? Was it a free opportunity? Did it get you anywhere with your drag?
Honestly, I would say getting a cast spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I had something more consistent. So I was able to actually consistently work on my drag and better myself. And I think it's worked for the better. And that was a paid gig, which now I'm getting paid a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So we've worked up for that. So I think that really is what kind of kicks me into gear because of the consistency of a cast spot. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, with that, especially in Birmingham, there aren't a lot of cast spots in Birmingham. Mm-hmm. There really, really are not. So if you get a cast position in Birmingham, that already is a huge achievement because either you have it where a show doesn't have cast or a show keeps the same cast and repeats them for 7+ years.
Yeah.
Getting even a step foot in the process of having a cast position in Birmingham, in my opinion, is very much so a lot of work. Mm-hmm. I've been in Birmingham for almost going on, I think I've read about 4 years. And I don't hold a cast spot. I've been doing drag for 6 years and I don't hold a cast spot. Mm-hmm. But we know some queens who have been performing for 2 years and they have a cast spot.
You're welcome.
Anyways, it's a very questionable situation. Opportunities though in Birmingham, they're coming up very rapidly. There are a lot of opportunities popping up. They're not cast opportunities, as mentioned, but we have shows popping up in Birmingham left and right.
Oh, 100%.
All the time. When we did the Preferred Trivia show, we counted, or when I was making the question for the Preferred Trivia show, I counted 12 shows and counting because there's still shows popping up everywhere. And I mean, it's just crazy to think that out of all those, still can't have a cast. Without those opportunities in Birmingham, though, you are kind of left with social media opportunities, such as, doing YouTube, which is something I was left doing whenever I got tired of, constantly not getting opportunities in shows in Birmingham. I was like, well, I guess I'll just make my own opportunity. And it was YouTube.
And thank you for including me on that journey with my cast spot.
And there's my one cast spot. But with those opportunities, I mean, with that opportunity, it brought me other opportunities, such as, my show in Dothan, where people saw what I was doing online and was like, whoa, this in a show would be really, really cool. And I did so. With that opportunity, and there's other opportunities such as TV shows. Flapjack is a huge example of this. Flapjack was on Can't Wanna Kiki, and that took her to a lot of places. She now has a platform where she can start her own shows. She actually started doing the Can't Wanna Kiki viewing parties at Al's on 7th. Mm-hmm. So there's several different opportunities. And I mean, Trinity the Tuck Taylor did Drag Race, and it took her to incredible places.
I would say now she's co-owner of a huge pageant system.
Pageants are another one. Doing a pageant can take you to a lot of places. Doing Magic City Entertainer of the Year, can literally take you across the world. Mm-hmm. So there's several opportunities. It's just really finding the space to squeeze into those opportunities. Because that's where it gets tricky. Mm. That's where you had to pull out the magnifying glass. You had to look at the fine details. You had to look at the rigory. You had to look at the complexity. Mm-hmm. You had to look at the toxicity. And you really had to break down and say, is the mathin', and is it worth my time?
Well, queers don't know how to math, so I don't think the math will be mathing.
That is fair.
Unless it's me.
Because you also get in, to situations where you do work your butt off and you finally find a cast position and it's just not right for you. That's happened for me in the past, and I had to, leave that situation because it was not correct. Mm-hmm. But with that, opportunities, they can lead you to bad places too. But you really got to sit there and think: is this really an opportunity that's gonna lead me in the right path, or take me away in the right path?
Well, and
On the wrong path,
sometimes if you you think about it and you risk it, sometimes it could end up being great for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because it wasn't great for somebody else doesn't mean it's not going to be great for somebody. You know,
and vice versa.
Other people. You know. So really, drag is really all about taking chances. Really.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to risk it all and try.
It really is. And another thing that's huge with opportunities and with drag opportunities, a big theme in drag is having connections in drag.
That is the best thing to get anywhere in drag.
It may not be a good connection, but a connection is a connection.
Amen to that.
Ding, ding, ringing the bell. Because in Birmingham specifically, when it comes to shows, if you don't have a connection, you will not get a show. Point blank, period.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the tea. That's something I found out. I'm one of those people who have always believed I do not like reaching out to people about bookings, because if they want me, they will reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like reaching out to people looks a little bad and does not look good for your name. So I hold back with that. However, I get told all the time, well, that's your fault. No. It's because these show directors only have their eyes on certain people, and those certain people are their friends. Mm-hmm. So if you can sneak your way into a quote unquote friendship, then you're good. You're set. Not to be shady, but I like to play it in a fair way to where that does not happen, because I've booked people for my show that I do not care for. That's the truth. And that's because I had a connection with them. I may have liked their drag. There's so many different reasons for that being so. But when it comes to my friends, booking my friends, I tell them all the time, no, I don't want you overbooked with my shows, because, you're a good example of this, because you ask literally every single month to be in the show. And I tell you no, because I don't want people to see that.
Right.
And it's not even, I don't want my name to look bad. I just also, that's unfair.
Right.
I don't want to.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And people don't see that in Birmingham. People don't do that in Birmingham. People don't care. They will continue to book their drag family. They will continue to book their best friends. They will continue to book these same people over and over, because that's all they know.
Right.
And then they'll often say, oh, we want to book new people who haven't been seen. No, I saw them on the same exact flyer 2 months ago.
Right. It's very Best Friends Drag Race.
Yeah. So it literally leaves you to...
It's very clicky.
It is
what it is.
And it's a click system. Drag scenes in general, drag clubs have always been that way, but Birmingham is a very different and unique click system that I've never seen. I've seen, click systems where you've had to literally pretend to be the friend of a show director to get a show, but I've never seen one where they will literally lie to your face and be like, oh yeah, we'll book you. You never hear back from them, and then you see only their friends being booked. I'm just saying, it's a little weird. It's a little weird.
That's hitting a little close to
home. It's a little weird. But if you are, as Vanity Lachey would say, an entrepreneur, then you make your ways, and you make different opportunities. When one golden ticket fails to go through the gate, you got another one. So therefore, I did my own thing. Now people can't say that they don't know me, because my face is literally all over my Facebook all the time because of my YouTube.
You're already all over my socials on top of that.
So it's like, come on, Barbara, you definitely know where I am. You definitely know who I am. You definitely have, And it's funny to see all these people who, have never booked me come to me and be like, oh, I love your YouTube. It's like, oh. All right.
Or message you and tell you.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Biggest important thing, have a connection. Make a connection. Do a smile. Don't paint like a bitch, apparently, because apparently that won't get you very far. 6 years down the trash just because I have a heavy eyebrow, but okay.
Time to quit?
Apparently.
Speaking of drag connections, a huge platform that allows so many opportunities for drag queens nowadays is Drag Race.
Which brings us to our weekly segment of...
Rate These
Queens! After viewing this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16, we got a lot of things to say.
Much like Q in this episode, so let's take our view to a review.
So, no one went home last week. We had The Incredible Power, which is still playing in our heads.
Yeah.
Power. I now know how to spell power thanks to that song.
It's given very, learning how to spell glamorous back in the day.
Yeah. And we also just saw Saphira had her second win finally. Morphine also has a problem with this. Morphine is a little upset and a little bitter because she did not win and Saphira did. But, I think it was fit.
I mean, Morphine's been in the top how many times? Oh, yeah. This is her first time.
Plain also thinks that she's in the top. But as Dawn says, Plain was just bottom one. Plain, there was no bottom two.
It's getting very Valentina
Saphira, Morphine, and Plain.
Yep. And it's very delusional.
Yeah. You look like a fool. Which is what Plain's response to Dawn's conspiracy of her being just the bottom one was. Mm-hmm. But I agree. I think Plain was just the bottom one. Yeah. I think there was really no...
Plain's butt was really safe on that one.
Yeah, and we also see her snap in the workroom whenever everyone's going through this. She gets a little fed up. And she goes through it.
Big mad.
Yeah.
She was very a mandatory meeting mad.
Yeah. But she was wearing gorgeous gowns. So she was perfectly fine to be safe.
I mean, it's better than pajamas on the runway, but...
That is fair. And we're still left with 7. We still have 7 queens remaining.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that.
Yeah. Nivea is also not thrilled about it. She's annoyed that we are still with 7. And speaking of Nymphia, Maya also shares some words about Nymphia, saying all she sees is bananas, which is probably the most relatable thing Maya has said all season.
Yeah, because that's what everybody's saying is nothing but bananas.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We now have the mini challenge being Spill the Tea, which is a little game. I thought this was so cute. Through this, we see a little stereotypes and a little characterizations of some queens, such as Nymphia being very passive-aggressive.
I mean, it's not wrong.
It's not wrong at all. We also apparently see that Morphine is a blonde, which I can definitely see. Mm-hmm. Plain is someone everyone in the cast would block online, which I feel is very fair. Saphira is the flirtiest, which kind of gagged me. I did not really see this, but I'm kind of here for it. Dawn is apparently the gassiest. I thought that was you, girl. And Morphine is the one who would blame it on the edit, which I'm a little confused by too, because I feel like Morphine would own up to whatever she says, but okay.
Much unlike you.
Much like me, Saphira would spend money wisely, and much like you, Plain would spend money in a dumb manner on breastplates. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Speaking of delusional, we also see that Plain is the most delusional, which also makes sense. And through all these, we see the winner is Saphira, who takes home $3,400 points in total, or dollars, I'm sorry. 900 from the questions and 2,500 from the mini challenge win. And all of the queens get to keep all of their money.
Drag Race really quirky. Really up to their budget.
Money. MTV said, here's you some money, here's you some money, and here's you some money. We then find out by RuPaul that it's allegedly Drag Awareness Month. I was unaware.
I did not know that was a thing.
Where's my gifts?
Right. Here we are.
Where is my thank yous? Where is my
you can at least bring a dish to pass or something
We find out this maxi challenge this episode is drag seminars where queens and groups have to portray a drag topic, which is very interesting. So with the groups, we have Q and Plain Jane representing drag herstory. We have Dawn and Maya representing drag in the workplace, and Saphira, Morphine, and Nymphia representing, are you a drag queen?
No, are you?
But you feel like a drag queen.
I feel like a drag queen.
Yeah. I would say I would do genuinely pretty good at this, because I kind of already do this whenever I do the preferred fews. Mm-hmm. Literally, I make a presentation and go through the presentation and present the presentation, and it's literally like this. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just the question is, are you actually good at it or not?
Yeah. So with this, Dawn is feeling very confident. Maya is not. Maya is completely lost.
It doesn't surprise me.
It also, what kind of does surprise me is that they're grouped together because they're the only ones without a win.
Yeah.
And it remains that way. But Plain Jane made a presentation for her mom to come out to her mom for being a drag queen. We find this out, and I thought this was pretty interesting. This is kind of shady.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, by the way,
Excuse
here's
me.
some news. I
Can
made
I
a
see you
whole
back
presentation. Yeah, can I please see you for a moment in the ballroom so we can have a discussion? We also see Plain admits her delusion, which it's about time. She was very deludified, and I think we should add it. I agree with the special guest. We should add it to the acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah. CUNTD for delusion.
Yep.
It should happen. The special guest also mentions that Dawn has straight man humor, which I thought was so funny because it's the truth.
100%.
Dawn really does have straight man humor, and it's now looking back at it, it's a little bit gross.
Yeah, it's very.
She might have lost some points for me. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a straight man.
Yeah. It's a little bad. We also found out Morphine had a 2.3 GPA. Slay.
That. I don't know why you would shade yourself like that.
Swear. Through looking at this challenge, though, after everyone has went to Michelle and the special guest to talk about what they're doing, I'm a little scared for everyone. Everyone's kind of a little lackluster and not really knowing what they're doing. And we then find out that there's a live audience of board employees, so that makes me even more terrified because it's a very hard audience. Mm-hmm. Something that I found was super interesting is they apparently had to make the slides too. So they had to make all of the animations and all of the text for the slide. I thought that was pretty cool. Mm. I thought that it was like interesting to see that they actually had to put in the work and not just stand on stage and present. Mm-hmm. And whenever they start to create the slide, they get into a little more depth. And it's just so weird to me that Dawn and Maya are together. Mm. They're such an odd pairing.
They
are.
You
really do have this quirky girl and then they're like this very quiet girl. Mm. And it's so weird. I don't know.
They're complete polar opposites.
Yeah. And I'm not the only one worried about this. Dawn is also worried about it. She literally says it's very up in the air of how it's going to go because she just doesn't know how they relate to each other.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Q also shares a story of being HIV positive when talking about her runway for this episode. And this was a story that genuinely gagged me. I kind of feel like I put an assumption on Q about her personality that blew me away when I found out about her. I always kind of thought Q was like this know-it-all gay who didn't really care about queer history, who only cared about theater and being, I don't want to say a white privileged gay, but a white privileged gay. And whenever I found out that she was HIV positive and that she went through that hardship of coming out and having people that she loved, go against her from finding out, it was very changing of my thought process on her because I was like, oh, you now are a relatable queer. You know what I mean? You now are a queer person who has went through hardships and who has went through struggles and seen people around you lose people around you. You know what I mean?
This is why you never judge a book by its cover.
And I mean, I still am annoyed by Q, but this story genuinely, it really was very moving and I'm glad she shared it.
100%.
Yeah. And what did Plain say?
It's literally the meme of the century right now.
Thanks for sharing or something like that.
So Plain said, Mama, kudos for saying that. For spilling.
Kudos for spilling, yeah. Kudos. I mean...
Kudos. Thanks for spilling the tea, girl.
Getting to the actual main stage to start the event, RuPaul looks so good yet again. This is her season. She's doing it. I don't know.
She is rocking it.
I don't know what vitamins she's taking, what coffee enemas, what coffee she's using for her enemas, but something is working. Mm-hmm. On a side note, coffee enemas. We do. On a side note, Michelle looks so much like Selena Titties.
Yeah.
Like from
she
the
was
hair.
Looking good.
She did look good. That's why I'm a little confused because she looks good. Blink, blink. From the hair to the boobies to like the way she was sitting and portraying herself. Yeah.
And her eyes were popping too.
Yeah. On the runway though, we see the seminars immediately start to happen. First up, we have Plain and Q, who are so dumb. Their heterodynamics group. It was very stupid and very funny. The only thing I really left questioning was it really drag history? Mm-hmm. It was more history with drag slapped on it. Mm-hmm. But it was very funny. It was genuinely very funny. Dawn and Maya were a little questionable though. They were bad. Dawn's transition of where she went from a party girl to a businesswoman, I think that was where the mistake started with Dawn. Because if Dawn would have stayed in that like party girl state, she would have been a lot funnier. Mm-hmm. The businesswoman was not doing it for me at all. And Maya was just bad. Maya was very, very awkward, not funny. When she tripped, I was very confused. And as Michelle says later on in the episode, I really think she needed those cards. I really think she needed those cards. I was a little worried whenever that happened. And the last group, we had Saphira, Nymphia, and Morphine, who were pretty funny for the most part. Saphira did have a couple of slips, but she always maintained it very well. Nymphia was the most confusing one out of all of these. Morphine had some moments. She slipped up as well, but Morphine at least managed to maintain it until she caught out herself for slipping. That was a little questionable. But Nymphia the whole entire time was no. And I'll leave it at that. Getting to the runway, though, the runway being flashback to DragCon 1980. This was such a cool and quirky runway theme. I thought it was incredible.
Definitely took a different spin than what we're used to.
Yeah. And I mean, especially the queens. I would have done something totally different with the 1980s, and I feel like all of them went very futuristic 1980s. Mm-hmm. But we'll get into it. So the first one actually was Plain, who did this. I hate the shape. I hated the shape of her runway. It was not it for me. I did love the colors and I liked the hair. The colors did scream 80s. Nothing else really screamed 80s to me. As far as her in the drag seminar, she was very funny. In my opinion, she was the head in charge, especially of the group, if not the entire group. For me, Plain specifically because of the runway was a 9.
Okay. So her runway for me, I thought it was sickening. I was living for the color and just the pattern on the gown in general and the nude illusion idea. I was also living for the hair too, and she was beat. I genuinely loved it. Her during the challenge, her and Q started out great, but then it just kind of flatlined and it just stayed on one note. I genuinely thought it was hilarious. So with that, I give her a 9 as well, and she makes it my 3rd.
Next up on the runway, we had Q. I was obsessed with this look. This was the look that she was talking about in the workroom when she shared her story of being HIV positive. I loved the patterns, the color, the representation. Everything about this look was incredible to me. When it came to her seminar, she was very funny, but she definitely was not as funny as Plain. So it's kind of weird for me because Plain did really well in the drag seminar, in my opinion, but her runway knocked it down. In my opinion, Q did okay in the drag seminar, but her runway skyrocketed for me. So, for the first time in Drag Race history, and in the preferred podcast history, Q gets a 10 for me.
Okay, yeah. Q for me on the runway, inspiration. Mm-hmm. And it was not only that, but it was fashion, and I really appreciated the intermix of both of them. Because they both told a powerful story. During the challenge, I personally feel like Q stepped Plain up. I think Plain was relying on that Jimbo humor that she tries to portray. And I think Q just had a little more effort put into it.
Well, kind of to oppose what you're saying, Q kind of brought Plain down. In the sense of Plain was always her times 10 personality of joke, joke, joke. And Q is that nice balance. So to bounce off what you're saying, she did, but in the sense of by bringing her down, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like she kind of really balanced it out. And that's what I enjoyed about her drag seminar. It's just I laughed so much more over Plain Jane.
See, I laughed more with Q. I don't know. I guess Q is more just that stupid humor. But I also give her a 9 and put her in my 2nd place.
Next up, we have Dawn, who this outfit was incredible. I love this outfit so much. The face kini was probably my favorite part, besides the colors and the hair. I love the hair as well. As far as the drag seminar, she was definitely the best of the group when it came to her and Maya. However, she was very awkward and very iffy for me. This was definitely a weak challenge for her. So for me, the runway definitely carried her through and gave her an 8.
On the runway for Dawn for me, I thought it was everything. I didn't see where I see a little bit of where Michelle was coming with her critiques. However, I do appreciate RuPaul stepping up and being like, I love this. This screams the challenge. And I just thought it was everything. Very creative. Her during the challenge, it was a bust. I have never thought I'd ever see Dawn flop as bad as what she did for me. And she was just boring. With that, I give her a 6.
Someone who was definitely boring was Maya, who on the runway was serving hair, but that was about it. And even with the hair was a little bit questionable for me. It was definitely teased for the gods, but not smoothed out for the gods.
And it wasn't sitting either.
It was not. As far as the drag seminars, no, she was definitely the worst out of everyone. She was very awkward, very confused. It was bad. For me, Maya was a 2.
On the runway, I was living for the big hair, but it looked messy.
It looked very messy.
And like I said, it wasn't sitting on her head properly. I mean, that what she was wearing was very, very plain. I appreciate it, but I wish there was something more to it. During the challenge, horrible.
Yeah.
She was so lost during the whole thing. There was no energy. I genuinely hated it. So with that, she gets a 5.
Next up, we had Saphira, who was serving everything on this runway. More specifically, I love the hair. The hair was so incredibly amazing. When it came to the group, she was definitely the best of the group. Even her fails were incredible laughters and bows of hilariousness. So for me, because of that, she really pulled through, and she was a solid 9.
Saphira on the runway, all I have to say is mother. It was very simple, but the perfect simple. And I was living for it. During the challenge, she was hilarious. I did catch the stumble. However, she recovered very well from the stumble. And she was just funny in general. She was the best of the group. She was the best out of all the groups for me. So I give her a 10 and put her in my first.
Oh, wow.
Q come very, very close, though, because I have to give props to Q. Q did it very well.
Next up, we have Morphine. I don't know how I feel about this outfit. It definitely wasn't serving 80s to me. I was very confused. She also said rhinestones, and I was a little confused by that too, because they were definitely beads. But in the challenge, she was not bad. She should not have called out her weaknesses of not knowing her lines. That was a little questionable. But she did pull through, and she did okay this week. So for me, she was a solid 7.
Okay. Mama, can we talk about this hair?
This
hair was horrible.
The hair was the most questionable thing, in my opinion.
And she borrowed it from Q, and I feel like she destroyed it on Q, because that's not how it should have been done. The outfit, it was cute, but it was very basic. I just really didn't get it. During the challenge for her, again, she called herself out, which is the gag of the episode. Why would you do that? I don't know. And she was giving me very Tsunami in the background. So with that, I give her a 5.
Lastly, on the runway, we had Nymphia, who I love these colors. That was kind of it for me. I didn't really care for the wiring. The colors were really cute. The silhouette was really cute. In the actual seminar, she was one of my least favorites. A lot of opinions pointed towards Morphine being one of the least favorites, in my opinion. It was definitely Nymphia. I specifically lost her when she dropped the character. And I mean, even we noticed it, Saphira and Saphira and Morphine making eye contact in the background to cut Nymphia off. Because it was that bad and it was that awkward. So because of that, she gets a 5 for me.
On the runway, I genuinely loved it. I loved the wiring. I think it just added a little bit of more. It took something and made it a little more fashionable, and I do love that. I loved the color, and the color looked so good on her, and her face was really beat. I think this is the best I've seen her face too. Going to the challenge, I genuinely liked it. I think she just lost where she was at, so she just took it and ran. I feel like the accent wasn't necessary. Why she chose to do an accent, I don't know. I think we're jumping back to she just needs to start getting serious because she's playing too much. But I genuinely thought she was hilarious, even though she had to get cut off because, like I said, she was kind of on a never-ending train. So I give her an 8.
We both unanimously decided that Q had the best look of the night, which was incredibly rightfully so. It was amazing. As far as the best performances as a group, Q and Plain both stole that spot. When it comes to actual favorites, we had Q in my top for my number one placement at 19, and Saphira in your top for your number one placement also at 19, which makes sense because through this, Saphira won her third win.
And there for a second, we both thought it was going to be Q stealing it.
Yeah, and Q thought so too. Her face.
She was mad.
She was big time mad. It was definitely another jam moment.
I could feel the rage through the TV.
Yeah, she literally went from like powerful woman to mostly ghostly.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, you could see all of the energy, all of the emotion flush through her body.
Oh, it was bad. And as she said to Saphira, I'm happy for you, but I'm gagged.
Yeah.
Mama, we were gagged too, don't worry.
Speaking about, though, Morphine and Maya ended up being the bottom two for this week. I'm not going to lie, I had to disagree. I definitely think nope. I definitely think, nope. I definitely think Nymphia should have taken Morphine's spot. I do.
I don't. I really don't. But I'm happy that we finally get to see this Morphine and Maya lip sync.
And it's to the song Dim All the Lights by Donna Summers. I love this song. I thought they did both very interestingly well. We start the lip sync off, though, with a gag because Maya throws her train onto Morphine while she's doing a back bend. That's a little gaggy.
Does Maya, where did she think that was smart? Does she not realize she could have seriously injured Morphine?
That could have been really bad.
That was horrible. Mm-hmm. That's when I knew she was gone.
Yeah, Morphine does clock back though by taking out her titty. I'm watching this though and thinking these are some old school drag tricks, like some dirty, shady drag tricks, like glass in the powder, cutting up the wigs, cutting gowns. But the best part of this lip sync, in my opinion, no matter how many people disagree with it, was Morphine's hold of the split. Dawn had opinions on it, but I'm sorry, this was everything. This was the moment. This was the moment.
I was living for it. Mm-hmm. I would not shut up the whole time because that alone, that is talent.
Yeah.
You cannot just find anybody that can do that. Mm-hmm. And to hold it for that long, that was everything.
It's a lot of work.
That was a lot better than flips on the stage.
Through this, we see Morphine stays, Maya leaves. Yeah, it's about time. Yeah, it is about time. Next time we see, though, that they're doing the Bathroom Hunties, which is a design show. This is going to be a very interesting challenge, I'm not going to lie. I'm super excited.
We know who's going to excel.
Yeah. But now it's time to jump across the pond for UK versus the World Season 2, where we just saw Gothi was sent home last episode by Marina. This was a very sad elimination for me. And we also saw Tia chose Gothi as well.
It was very sad, but it genuinely was Gothi's time to go.
It was time. This episode, we had the Maxi Challenge Strictly Come Prancing, which is very similar to Season 7's Dancing Challenge, where they had to do the split face, split drag, split man, and they had to do a little bit of dance. This was a very interesting challenge. I was kind of gagged that they brought this back out of all of the challenges they could have brought back. But hey, slay. Through this, we see Hannah and Marina are doing the samba. We have Scarlett and Teresa doing the tango, and Tia and Legrand Dame doing the quick step. And Marina assigns all of these by heights, which at first I was like, that's a little interesting, but it made sense. It really, and like seeing the dances actually on stage, it definitely makes sense.
100%.
Like I could not have pictured Marina doing the quick step with Legrand Dame. That would have been insane.
Right. But Tia did have a fair point on what if there really is. Because you never know what's going to happen with the dance.
Through this, though, we see that Scarlett and Teresa are in the bottom. I don't know if I agree with this. Teresa,
it's only because of Teresa.
Yeah.
And it's only because it was groups.
Yeah. Hannah and Marina are in the top, and Marina gets the win through this lip sync, which I'm a little sad for Hannah because she was really wanting this, and I know she was really wanting this. Yeah. But through this, we thank God. I'm not going to lie, I was a little concerned that Hannah might have chosen Scarlett as she won, so I'm kind of glad she didn't.
Yeah.
But Marina did choose Teresa.
I was really scared that Hannah was going to win that.
Yeah.
And Hannah was going to pick
Choose
Scarlett.
Just specifically because of what Scarlett had said about sending home competition.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And next time we have the roast, which I'm super, super excited for.
I love a roast.
I'm super excited for.
And
I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of glad that Teresa's gone for the roast because her roast would have been bad.
Yeah. I wish we would have another Lady Bunny roast.
Me too.
That'd be fun.
That would be really fun. Don't forget to catch the new season of RuPaul's Drag Race on MTV every single Friday.
And of course, come to the channel every Wednesday to listen to us rate these queens.
New. Although I have a crazy day tomorrow with my 23rd birthday, this week thus far has been very calm. But let's get into what's to come. So, first off, starting the week with a brand new video, the Preferred Trivia Show with Veronica Salvatore and Leviathan. That was a very quirky video. We finally got around to watching it. It was actually before we watched Drag Race the other day. And yeah, it was a pretty cute video.
It was cute.
Yeah.
It was funny.
So make sure to go check that out on my YouTube channel if you're already watching the podcast here. Hello. Just click right below. If you're watching on Spotify, make sure to click on my YouTube at The Only Preferred to see that video. It's a brand new video. It's a quirky little video. And click on it to see who wins.
Yeah.
And also a video from the last the Preferred Trivia Show winner, where you also had Amber Valentine as a contestant. So yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to come back and reclaim our crown eventually.
This week's upcoming video is the Preferred Few, episode 9, with a very special guest. I am super excited for this video to come out. It's going to be one of my favorite videos, I can already tell. If you're just a random general public watching my channel, you're probably gonna be like, oh, okay. But for me, it's a very special video coming out on a very special day. So I'm super excited for it. And I can't wait for the world to see it.
I'm excited for it, especially because it's going to be a step for this person, I'm sure, too.
And with that being said, there are quite a few the Preferred Fews booked for the upcoming months. I did a interest form for the Preferred Few, where if you're interested in doing the Preferred Few, all you have to do is fill out a very simple little Google form, and it lets me know that you're interested, when you're ready to film, how long it takes you to need a notice of filming. This is a very helpful tool for me, and I went the longest time without looking at it. I went for the longest time without looking at it just because I didn't want to get my hopes on it and so on and so forth, and also let the anticipation build. And I had to work that weekend. I opened it to see a bunch of applications and interest forms, or interested people, I guess you would say. And I was genuinely gagged. I was super shocked. I was super blown away. I cannot wait for all of the entertainers. Everyone's not going to make the cut, just because some people I don't really feel like have a deep connection with the drag community in their area, or I feel like
they just need more time.
They do, and that's no tea, no shade. I just know what I'm looking for when it comes to the Preferred Few, and I know what standard I have in mind. And that's not shade in the sense of doing good or bad drag, because I've had you on the channel as the very first episode, and look at the material.
Yeah, and it's gotten better ever since.
But what it has to do with is I want someone who has a relation with their drag scene. I want someone who has stories to tell and not made up stories. No, I don't need that. I want genuine, heartfelt stories. And a common misconception is I feel like people think the Preferred Few are only my close friends in drag. That's incorrect. I actually have booked people who I've said only a few words to in drag. And, we did the Preferred Few so I could get to know them more. My whole point of the Preferred Few is to not only expose myself to new people in drag, but also to as many views as I can get of people in drag. It's not about money for me. It's not about views for me. It's not about subscription. Of course, I want those things, not the money. I mean, that too, because cameras, lights, etc. are
so
not
she's a gold digger.
No. But when it comes to views and subscription, the only reason I matter or care about them is because I want them to get up so I have more people to see the guests that I have. Because that's the whole point of it. That's all I want, is a platform to show off drag.
Well, and that just helps kind of push Alabama drag out there alone. Yeah. Because Alabama drag is not really noticed. Yeah, exactly. So that helps. And those forums are still live.
Yeah, they are. So you can literally click any of my socials, there's a link tree that has them on it. And then there's also a post on my Facebook that literally has the links. And there's 2 links actually. So there's an interest form if you're an entertainer. And that's another misconception, is it's not just drag entertainers. Mm-hmm. Something that I have actually realized is I have yet to have a drag king on, and unless you count Puddin, which Puddin was not on the preferred few, but on the channel. And that's not out of like spite. I love drag kings so much. It's just something that's not super common in the area, and let alone something that is represented much of in the area, which I'm hoping to change. It's not just drag entertainers. I've had Brandon, who is not a drag entertainer. He's someone who is connected with the drag scene in Atlanta. I've had Florian, or Dre, whoever you want to look at it as, who no longer does drag like as an active, who no longer actively does drag. They come out of the closet here and there, but they don't actively do drag. And some other guests that you never know might pop up. Anyways, they, I can promise you right now, the preferred few does not do drag.
Well, I mean, you even have people that don't do drag that aren't on the preferred few as well, like Paris.
So that's another common misconception, is that it has to be drag entertainers. That's not correct. If you have been a show director, if you've been a bartender at a drag show, if you've been a DJ at a drag show, if you have a connection with the local drag in your area, you are meant for the preferred few. Mm-hmm. I promise you. I just want to hear stories and hear representations of the queer community and the drag community. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, there's also another form that you can fill out if you're not only wanting to be on, but the other form is for if you are not related in the queer drag community and you know someone who is and you want to see them on the preferred few, you can submit a request of someone to be on. Please do not submit yourself. That literally defeats the whole entire purpose. I'm not going to go off of like how many votes someone gets to be on the show sooner. No, that's not how that works. I don't even look at the amount of people or the amount of times someone votes for someone. I only look at the person they vote for. So if you're constantly just putting in your name, I promise you that's going to red flag me. And I'm going to be like, yeah, I don't want that person.
Because we can see who's
I can see your emails. Yes, I can see your emails, by the way. If you don't see where it says submit email, I can see your email. So if you know someone who does drag, or if you have a drag entertainer that you look up to and you want to know more about them, go onto that link as well. And just, it's literally, that one's only 3. It's literally who's the drag entertainer, what's a question you would ask them, and are you subscribed? Because I better be. But yeah, you can find all of those on my website, actually. If you don't want to do the links, you can find all of that information on the website, as well as the brand new The Preferred show, which is going to be announced March 30th. You can find out that actually a day before. If you look onto my socials, click that link where it says The Preferred website. And if you go on there around 11 o'clock on Friday, the 29th of March, you'll actually know who is in the next cast before everyone else does, when it won't be posted till like 12 o'clock on Saturday. 2 o'clock. So yeah, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock. But yeah, the brand new The Preferred show is coming. The announcement being March 30th, the actual show being April 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure to stay out. I almost wanted to spoil the theme, but I'm not going to quite yet, just to give you a little bit anticipation.
But
I will say the theme does have to do with April.
April Fools?
April Fools.
April Fools.
With all those exciting new events, it's time for your exciting new questions.
Don't forget to click the link in either of our bios to ask your questions today.
So, Amber, your question is, what are the last 3 things you bought online?
Does food count if I bought it online?
I mean, I guess you bought it online.
Taco Bell, DoorDash from Whataburger, and DoorDash from Taco Bell. Wow. I mean, I don't...
So it's literally all food?
Yeah. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I bought something offline.
I don't like to.
I used to be horrible about it, but...
I don't like to. It's honestly, one, I have trust issues. Hi.
Unless it's Amazon,
I have trust issues. Well, I mean, even with Amazon, how do you know what you're buying is actually what you're getting?
I've also had a long run with Amazon, and I've never been disappointed by Amazon. And
I
I've
have
been shopping on
several times.
Amazon since I was
I've
12.
also, my mom has been scammed by Amazon. She's had money being, like, taken out of her account through Amazon.
Oh, girl, I've been shopping on Amazon for 15 years.
So noted. I know who to go through. Do you have Amazon Prime?
No.
I was about to say, I know who to go through to get my stuff.
Most of the time, I had a student email, so I got the free 6 months.
And just kept renewing. Like you do with Philo.
Enroll in a college just to get the student
Just
email.
to get I would do that for Apple Music.
I mean,
Apple Music is now $11. That is ridiculous.
Inflation, girl.
$1 extra for music?
Hey.
Girl, you got me up.
You can take that $11 and go get you a pizza, girl.
Literally, you can take that $11 and get you like 13 douches. You can. They're $1.13 for a 2-pack.
I'm weak.
2 times 10, yeah. I think that's the.
You are overthinking this.
Well, also, I'm just really bad at math.
We know, as well as many other things.
I mean,
so
first and foremost, I'm not the one
preferred.
that drag and doing it. Okay.
Don't talk about Gina like that, girl.
Hey.
That's my friend.
Hey.
That's my friend.
Hey. Gina.
You.
Not the SpongeBob knee slapper. That one got you, girl. Can we talk about Gina in a pussycat wig at the show?
Gina in a pussycat wig.
Gina in a
pink pussycat wig.
A pink pussycat wig. She tried that little.
Or when her wig cap got stuck in her hair.
Not only Gina in a pink pussycat wig with a messed up wig cap, but also Gina wearing a pink pussycat wig with a messed up wig cap because she had that horrible looking Karen Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kids looking wig. That was horrible. Gina. Listen, Gina, I'm about to be reaching out to you about some bookings, and not only on the YouTubes, but also for the preferred show. But I might take back my reach out.
Your moms are cracking down on you, girl.
And I'm cracking down. And I'm not, I mean, I'm a mother of this little putty cat behind me, but
she's a bitch.
She is sleeping, girl. You leave her alone. You leave her alone. And Gina, change your wigs. Gina, I can't even.
She did it because she did pink.
Well, that's not even her wig. The pink pussycat wig was Victoria's.
I know.
But, and you know, that one I'll let slide. But it's the Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kids looking wig. That's the one I can't let slide.
Especially being that was the one she was originally going to wear without the pink one underneath.
That thing literally was like, it came out of the bag, pissed on, and then put on the hair. Like, not a brush, not a little plump it up.
Do you know you pissing on your wigs, girl?
That's what it smelled and looked like.
You pissing on your wigs, girl?
It's not the only thing she's pissing on.
Oh.
The stage, too.
She's starting to vote on the stage too now.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. Well, she always be doing that on stage. So, Miss Sajay Preferred, your question reads, do you still have contact with any childhood friends?
Yes, I actually do. Well, it depends on what you say childhood, because I never really had childhood.
That makes all the sense in
No,
the world.
like legit, when it came to elementary school, and it's funny because actually when we went down to for the preferred show last Dothan, last time for Dothan, we actually passed by my old elementary school, and I was going to go show you, but you were asleep in the car, and as revenge, I hit the brakes and you went flying in the car.
I was so mad.
Anyways,
so pissed.
But the elementary school that I went to from kindergarten up until 5th grade, it was called George W. Long Elementary School. And if that name doesn't say it alone, it was in Skipperville, Alabama.
So George was long?
George was long. The mascot was Rebels. That's all I'm going to say.
In Skipperville?
Yes.
I feel like it should have been like a rabbit.
Anyways, and this was the most redneck place. The kids were literally allowed to bring guns to school.
Well, that's a lot in schools nowadays anyways.
Yeah, but it was that bad. Anyways, point being is, I had literally zero connection with anyone at that school. Like, for real. Like, zero connection. So when I was a kid growing up, I only had one friend. His name was Xavion. He was one of the like only 5 people of color that went to that school out of the entire school. And him and his family, he had like 3 or 4 siblings that went to the school as well. And spoiler alert, they were the only other people of color.
Girl,
I mean,
no.
serious. Anyways, but they were in the same boat as me, minorities, people who were not talked or associated with by these other rednecks in this skipper town. So they were really the only people I ever talked to in my childhood. Do I still talk to them? Unfortunately not, because in 6th grade I went to a different school system. My parents and I moved, and so on and so forth. It was still in the area. It was just a county over, so it was a different school. And that's where I really started to flourish. I literally, in 6th grade, I was like, oh, honey. I was like...
Hey, 6th grade is when I realized I was gay, too.
Well, not that. I realized I was gay in, like, 2nd grade. But
I realized in 6th grade because that's when you start getting dressed in the locker rooms with boys. I was, like...
When I was in kindergarten and realized I wanted to be a teacher so that I could be a bitch and sass people around all day, that's when I knew I was gay.
And barely even get paid for it?
Well, in drag. Not a different story. But no, so 6th grade, when it comes to, changing, I became very much so extroverted. And that's when I really started talking to people. And I still, to this day, you talked about it earlier, someone had commented on my photo saying, I love this for you. And we were talking about how in the drag community, that sounds shady. Uh-huh. That's from 6th grade. Still talk to her to this day. Like, I'm one of those people where if I make a connection with someone and they show me to not be fake, in the sense of continuously talking with that connection, and it doesn't have to be every day. It really does not. Half the time, I promise you, I can't talk to you every day. Like, I can't. I really can't. Those people who still make the effort to stay in contact, yeah, I still stay in contact with them. Like, I don't think I have any best friends from high school that I still stay in contact with, except for, like, Nathan. But even then, we weren't friends in high school because, he was in the closet.
Oh, not the closet shaming.
But yeah, I mean, if people still... Actually, I was not closet shaming. My ex-boyfriend dug him out of the closet. And that's something that I was... I was disgusted about.
So it wasn't your fault. It was just your fault adjacent.
No, I actually crawled my ex-boyfriend's ass when I found that out.
Oh, girl, I would too.
Yeah, and I made the entire school hate him.
Well, that's like my ex-husband.
He left with no friends.
My ex-husband's twin brother's the one that pulled him out of the closet. That's some shit.
And I'm a strong believer, don't pull someone out of the closet.
That's on their time.
That's something that, like, that, yeah.
Especially when it's already said enough, we have to, like, coming out of the closet is a thing, because it shouldn't be.
And also, you never know what people are going through. Like, yeah, I mean, a perfect example was Nathan. He had a very conservative family, and they ended up sending him to conversion camp because he came out. And I mean, no one should ever have to go through that just because someone didn't want to keep their mouth shut and thought it was, quirky drama to spill. No, you're literally ruining someone's life. Like, shut up, please.
And that closet is already dark enough.
Yeah, it really,
don't make it
really
any darker.
And if it's someone who is, like, in the closet because they don't want their wife to figure out that they have gay sex, that's a different story. Like,
not the down lows.
At the end of the day, I still would never do that because you never know what you're ruining. You never, I mean, like, they could be... a very random hypothetical situation, but she could literally be forcing to, like, lose it and, like, go berserkers and kill the entire family if he comes out as gay, and if you out him and now everyone knows. You never know. Like, I know that's a very hypothetical situation, but you never really know.
You never know.
Don't forget to click the link in both of our bios to ask your question today, and make sure to give us a follow while you're there.
Go ask. Now.
With us being all talked out, it's time to end the episode. Make sure to follow all of my socials at The Only Preferred for brand new videos on YouTube, new show announcements on Facebook and Instagram, and overall looks in general. My birthday is literally tomorrow when this is coming out, so you never know when you might get a little birthday look.
Flame, let's do it. While you're following her, make sure you follow me on all my socials at Amber_V_Valentine for new looks, new videos, and some new things coming. And I actually just dropped a new look today that will be dropped throughout the week, which is kind of sickening. So go check it out.
Comment who your favorite was in this episode of RuPaul's Drag Race.
And follow for more episodes of the Preferred Podcast every Wednesday on Spotify and YouTube.
It's been nice talking.
And we'll talk to you later.
As always, stay preferred.
And full of love.